Okay, welcome back. Arma 3 mission making 15 minutes or less, and today we're going to talk about custom compositions and how to make them, how to save them, how to use them thereafter. So you can see in front of us here we've got our platoon. Each guy is kind of different role, different kit, different equipment, and we'll talk about how to set it up so it looks like the way you want it to look, but more importantly so it plays the way that you want it to play. So how do we go about doing that? We'll jump out onto the road here and we're just going to make a section. With this we're going to use the 3CB Army MTP, but there's only one real difference between using a custom kind of set of kit and a NATO one. If we do a quick look in here, let's chuck down an assistant gunner versus going down to our little dude here, GPMG number 2 will do. So if we jump into our GPMG number 2, this is the chap from the 3CB mod. Scroll down here, you've got this that 3CB have encoded in there to allow for customization of the loadout, so the kit and equipment that he's carrying, and it supplements any of the stuff that you've put in there. They'll put in some additional stuff, and unit randomization, changing out the uniform, the vest, the backpack, the helmet and the goggles, so that each individual soldier looks slightly different, which is great visually, not so great from not necessarily so great from a mission making perspective, and certainly from a command and control in game and things like that. So these are things that you can comfortably check or uncheck depending on what you want to do. If we go into one of the vanilla ones, you don't have those options there. That's not something that's coded in. There are ways of scripting it so that you can do that for vanilla. We're not going to go into that, but that capability does exist. What are we going to do? We're going to do the dude. We'll just take this guy here, and I want a fire team lead. That'll do. And then I want a medic and GPMG and law and a couple of riflemen. So we got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want another GPMG dude. Gives me my 8. So 8 guys, 2 fire teams, 2 4-man fire teams. Don't so much care about what they look like or what their kit and equipment is at the moment. We'll talk about that in a second. But the first thing I'm going to do is disable that within the attributes. Jump down here, and you have to do it on all of them, unfortunately, sad times. But I want them to be wearing specific kit and equipment. I'll talk about that in a little bit as to the reason why. So that's your 8 guys. Whenever you're editing loadout, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can right click on the soldier, go into edit loadout, and you've got Ace Arsenal or the BI virtual arsenal. Preference is Ace Arsenal just because there's a few more options for searching around and things in there, so that's what I use. And if you press on that, you can see it brings us into this view here. On the left hand side, you've got kit and equipment, so rifle, handguns, launchers, headgear, uniform, vests, backpacks, faceware, so glasses, goggles, etc., NVGs, binoculars and other optics. Your map terminal is kind of like a GPS or a UAV terminal. Communications are the radios that you're using, navigation, compass and things like that, and a watch. These ones here we don't mess around with. Watch you might be swapping out for an altimeter, for example, if you're doing an airdrop. So that's on the left hand side, and then as you select on each of these things, you go onto the right hand side and it gives you options for customization of those bits of kit and equipment. So for a rifle, for example, or in this case a GPMG, is whatever optics are available you can then select from here. Same with attachments. I love it that you can put a BFA on there. I think that's a really nice touch. Bipod magazine, etc., etc. If you go into things like the uniform, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. So this isn't things that necessarily you're not going to attach optics to your uniform, but you can carry additional optics with you. Say for example you want sharpshooting, you want to be able to swap in and out your optics for that. You can also carry additional magazines, so your rifleman can carry extra rounds for your GPMG, for example. Explosives, or grenades in this instance, and then explosives for the larger explosives. Miscellaneous items carries a whole plethora of things, including randomly bananas, but other bits of kit and equipment in there that you want as well. So that's kind of gives us our base understanding of the user interface here. What you can do is either export or import different loads out. So for example, once you've done your loadout, you can go to export it, load it to clipboard, and you can use that and apply that coding into different pieces via the init or via a script. You can save this loadout, so say that I've done this, I can hit on save here, and that gives me a loadout, or indeed where I've exported and it's on the clipboard, I can go to import and then put the imported data in from a clipboard and put it to each individual person. Hit apply, takes it back out. So now we can see all our guys have got all the same kit and equipment with the GVMG with the BFA fitted, for example. Let's go back in. So why have I changed all of them? Well, for all of your guys, you're going to have a base level of kit and equipment. Medical kit, earplugs. If you are simulating things like rations, they're going to carry 24 hours worth of rations and things like that. So it makes sense to, in the first instance, kit everybody out in a kind of a same basic loadout, and then customize each individual role thereafter. So in this one, I always start, most of my guys are going to be going with the L85A3, and for the optics for that, I always do the LDS. Rail attachments is going to be, and where I can, I try and stick with the same 3CB module to go with the 3CB kit. Not rigid. LDS is one of the RKSL, although they do complement each other. That's personal preference again. You guys can pick whatever it is you want, and whatever works for you. I want IR laser module. We don't use suppressors generally, and I want a grip pod. I'll do desert, I guess. Magazine, make sure it's 5.56, and it's the 3CB one, and we don't have any grenades and stuff. Pistol, we're not going to know attachments on that one because you know who uses pistol. Launch wants to be empty. Headgear, and we're just going to go the Mark 7 MTP, the standard A. Uniform, I'm not a booty, so we're just going to have MTP BAF. And vest, so we're going to start with Rifleman A, backpack. Rifleman A, facewear, and don't want that. I want the tactical glasses clear because you know that's good drills. MVGs, empties, optics. So the binoculars are actually pretty good and accurate, but I like to have either a laser designator or a vector 21. So laser designator just so you can get that distance, and you know there is that kit and equipment out and around, and to give you that distance. Can use safe line and javelin clue. I'm not going to use that. That's a different tutorial about javelin. But laser designator for vanilla is a decent option. If you want to do something more advanced, and you're doing more advanced navigation, integration of technologies, because that's the way you want to play your game, then the Vector 21 and the Vector 21 Knight are awesome. If you chuck down a Vector 21 and then you have a micro dagger, then you can integrate the two together and use them via race to give you range finding grids, azimuth between 2 points on that you can use using the Vector 21. So it's a pretty cool bit of kit. But for us, we're just going to stick with a vanilla laser designator. Map, everyone gets a map, although I have made a number of missions where the guys don't get mapped, so that they work off of a PDF map produced. You can download the maps online, and they have to navigate that way. Or you might want them to have no map at all, and you've got to work your way around the area and figure out where you are and things like that. So you can take that out. Same detail if you're going to do that kind of operation, then removing their GPS, and that's pretty good fun for things like escape and evasion operations, or indeed if you're trying to practice navigation within your group, then removal of GPS, perhaps leaving the map in though, allows you to move them around different locations, and then they can practice going through the process of finding out where they are on the map and planning routes to wherever it is that they're going. Within the terminals, if you wanted to use UAVs or have UAV capability using a drone, then you're going to need a drone terminal or UAV terminal. So that's where you can pop that in there. Radios, I always go with the PRC 152 for use with TFAR. You can use other ones, but this is the one that I've used certainly for when I'm playing in my group, and it just allows you to set different frequencies to do a bunch of different things. That you're replicating that in-game audio mechanic of how close you are, what comms you've got, encrypted communications and things like that. Navigation compass obviously, and a watch. They're going to get the watch itself. We're not going to use this micro dagger though. So that's kind of the initial loadout. I'm then going to go into the uniform, and everybody's going to get some medical equipment. Now, for those of you who played Arma, you don't carry around two first field dressings. We're always going to carry around 12. You need a bunch. Whatever it is you decide that you want to do, for me it's 12 is a good number. Gives everyone enough to kind of stabilize themselves where required, and fix themselves up if they have a bad day. There's your micro dagger. We're not going to use that in this group or in this loadout, but it's certainly available to you. We do want map tools so that you've got a in-game silver compass. Everyone gets some morphine. Everyone's going to have some kind of fluids. Everyone's going to get a couple of splints. Everyone's going to get 4 times tourniquet, and that, I believe, is it for my standard loadout. So everybody in their vest is going to have that kit and equipment across the group. Sorry, within their vest, within their uniform. And then they can also have the 2 smoke. Purple and yellow. So if they need signal for anything, then yellow and purple smoke, and that makes it, in my head, mission maker. That's Brit 4 kit and equipment. So that's their uniform done. Jumping into their vest, everybody is going to have. So there's no bandoliers, or there's a mod to do bandoliers and stuff like that, and to bomb up ammunition. We're not going to go into that level of complexity on this one. We're keeping this as simple as possible. So they're going to carry 10 magazines worth of ammunition, and it's going to be in 10 magazines. They're also going to carry a couple of frag grenades, museum 67s, and then that is it. And then in their backpack, there should be clear and nothing in there at all. So I'm going to go to Loadout here. Create a standard loadout, save. That's now my standard infantry loadout. Everyone is going to start with this kit and equipment. Hit apply. Everybody looks like that. Happy so far. Okay, but of course I don't want everyone to have the same kit and equipment. I don't want everyone to even look the same. There does need to be some variations, but as well as the standardization. So let's take, for example, our there's a GPMG. Where's my other GPMG? So I've got 2 GPMG guns. So we're going to click on both of those guys. If we can actually be clever enough to click on 2 things at the same time. So right click again, edit loadout, and now we're just going to change the loadout of these 2 guys. And I will rattle through this so you don't sit there and spend forever watching me go making all of these changes. And that's all set up, ready to go as a section. So what we can now do is bring these out for a start. Grab all of those guys together, right click, and then we want to save custom composition here. And title, this is going to be section light. And all we want to do is find a group. It's going to be infantry whenever I can find it. Let's go for men. You can save it, same detail with an organisation here. I'll just do and again. So now if you go into your you've got your custom composition. You can drop them down wherever you want, and that enables you to add stuff in. You can do this with other groupings. So for example, if we took this whole base and we go say custom composition, and we go let's just go for other, and FAB. And then we've now got a fob that we can essentially just drop down. But gentlemen, that is it. Essentially, you've got now how to set up your own individual sections, go through their loadouts, save them as a custom composition to be utilised later on in either in your editing processes or your mission making in-game kind of activities. I'll catch you on the next one. Any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as best I can. Thanks.